to the celebrity book signing stand after the demo and get your signed copy. Please be reminded to put your phones on silent during the performance. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you've seen them on TV and now you can see them live. Please give a warm Josie welcome to...
Good afternoon, ladies and gents. How are we all doing? Woo! I apologize. We started a bit late. I'm Michelle Mukri, and welcome to the Celeb Chefs Theatre. Who are we here to see? Siba. She's backstage. Let's try a bit louder. Siba. There we go. Before I bring out Siba, if I could please ask you to turn your phones onto silent, but feel free to tweet away using the hashtag GoodFoodWideShow2015. Tweeting? Awesome. That's what we want to hear. And then, of course, the exits are to your potential Kalula, right? Well, ladies and gents, on that note, on the count of three, we're going to go Siba, Siba. All right, 3, 2, 1. Louder, she's not going to come out. Siba. Oh, she's really tough. Come on. Siba, 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 Siba!
Woohoo! Hello, Joburg. How are you doing? You well? You guys don't go to church. Huh? Oh, thank you so much for coming. This is my second demonstration for the whole event and my last one. So this morning, every morning, in fact, I have a chat with my husband and my little one. Do you know that little Nunus that you see on TV who was only 6 months is now 2 years? He's so big. He's a big boy. So he says to me, Siba is overseas. So obviously this one time I went overseas, so I had to tell him, baby, I'm going to go away for a few days and mommy's going to go overseas, but I'm going to come back. So every time I go, in his head, he thinks I'm overseas, which I think is so cute. Anyway, I thought, may I have some soap and water? Do you have water? Cool, thank you so much. Let me wash my hands. I thought because it's Sunday, it would be perfect to make a Sunday roast. But this one with a little bit of a difference, a little bit cheeky, full of flavor. You know, I vavavoom like that. Full of flavor, but at the same time, not like I did with the first season, where you have to wait forever to cook your roast. And I thought, how can I do it? In fact, this was a real-life scenario. We had my pastors often visit us, especially on Sunday, and they have lunch at our place. It's always pressure, hey, at Siba's table. It's always pressure because I always have to reinvent. Because if you've had it the last time, it's like, yeah, we've had this one, Sib, so now you want a new one. So I thought, what could I make that tastes amazing, that's quick and easy to make, and also that won't make me feel like I've just toiled all day and all night making it. Okay, and then I thought, all right, what's the one thing most people don't do at home? A beef fillet. Do you ever make a beef fillet at home? Yes! See, I'm right. So I thought, I'm going to make a beef fillet, and I'm going to put my fusion in. No problem. I'm going to put my fusion in, which is an Asian fusion. And that for me is like my comfort zone. If, for instance, I want to whip up something quickly in no time and I'm guaranteed that it's going to taste amazing, then I go Asian. And I thought, okay, so what do I do? So this is something I would make. We go to church in the morning and then we come back later. So this is, for instance, what I will do. I'll have a beautiful beef fillet. Now, in Cape Town, we have wonderful butchers. Do you buy your meat at a butcher? Butcher or retail stores? They usually have butchers as well. Do they, in Joburg? Yes? Well, there's quite a few in Cape Town retail stores which have big butchers, and they're usually quite, what I do is I make friends with everyone who's in the food space, so that when I call them, I get preference. So you should do that. We've got wonderful butchers in Cape Town, and one of the things I tell them that when I ask them, let me take off this ring. One of the things I ask them is, would you please, when I'm making a beef fillet, I want it to look really lovely. And in order for it to look really lovely, it has to be, do you have a camera guy today? Can you see? Where are you? Where? Yes. I want them to see what I'm talking about. So I usually choose, when you buy a beef fillet, it's quite long and it often has the end bits. But I usually choose to have the middle section, because the middle section cooks perfectly even. If you have, for instance, the one section which has the tail end, or the other section which has the tail end, then you'll have more well done, and your meat will not be even in terms of cooking. So I choose this section. So choose this section as well. And it's beautiful. Look at it. It's even, it's long, it just gives that dramatic look. All right. So what's the next thing I do? So the next thing I do, I make a mean marinade that I also use as it can be used as a dressing, but I use it this time for my jus. Now, let me tell you a funny story. So I went to culinary school, and one of the things that we learn at culinary school is the terms. And when we are asked to pronounce the word jus, do you know how it's spelled? It's J-U-S. We went like, juice. It's not juice. It's jus. So it makes an amazing jus. And one of the things that I love doing is making sure that I kill two birds with one stone. I call it double duty, so that's the new word. By the way, in terms of second season of Siba's Table, it's done, it's dusted. It's in the bag. It's now in post-production where they're changing it into the different languages. So it will come out quite soon, and perhaps you will see this recipe as well. So what I do is I marinate it for only 1 hour, no more than an hour, because what happens is, especially if you have some vinegar or anything acidic in your marinade, it starts eating the meat. Have you ever marinated something with a little bit of acidity, and then your meat becomes a little bit mushy? So that's what happens. So an hour is fine when marinating this. So take a big Ziploc bag. Ideally, you'd have a very big Ziploc bag so that your meat lies flat. But if you have a small one, it's not an issue as well. You just take your meat and then place it lengthwise. And the great thing about Ziploc bags is that they can literally, you can seal them properly. So even if it sits like this in the fridge, it won't sip. And for safety, it's better to always put it in something so that it doesn't drizzle on other food. We don't want cross-contamination. All right, now I'm going to make my awesome marinade, which can be turned into a dressing. You need sesame oil. Now, sesame oil is one of those very, very potent oils. It has a very nutty flavor. It's very potent in flavor. In fact, it's one of those oils where you don't usually cook with it. You'd much rather make it in marinades, you use it in dressings and other things. Because if you cook with it, it has a very low, it can't take high heats like olive oil, but it's even worse. Literally, if I were to put this on and put this, it will start smoking. So it's much better, not for cooking, unless if it's like short periods of time cooking. It's much better for making in marinades and dressings and salads, but not so much because it can be quite potent. And there's different types as well. That the darker it is, the stronger it is, and then there's lighter variation. So you must know which one you're getting when you're making a specific recipe, because it will guide you on how much perhaps you must add, maybe a little bit more or sometimes a little bit less. What gives it a difference is that, as you know, with sesame seeds, once you toast them, they become slightly browned, isn't it? And then they do the pressing process, whereas sometimes they just take the raw sesame seeds and they start pressing it just as is. So it makes a huge difference in terms of flavor. All right, so I've got some sesame oil, and this is 4 tablespoons. I know because I've been cooking for a very long time. I know how to judge it. All right, now I've got some rice wine vinegar. Now the rice wine, if you don't have rice wine vinegar, this about 2 tablespoons. If you don't have rice wine vinegar, it's not a problem, because with the rice wine vinegar, you can substitute it with a very mild, let's say white wine vinegar. If you don't have white wine vinegar, then use some lemon. But the lemon tends to be quite sharp, so don't use too much. And also use your judgment. The thing is that I tell people, especially when it comes to cooking, you must feel the food and you must taste as you go along. Otherwise, you might try a recipe, do it accordingly, and sometimes maybe your lemon is not as pungent as the lemon that someone else used, and you might not get the balance. So you need to taste as you go along. It's really important. And of course, you can never go Asian if you don't have some garlic and ginger. And what we did with this, where's the chefs? She helped me to crush it and to paste it. So what we did with the garlic is you literally crush it like this with your knife, and then you start peeling it, and then you chop it finely. Once it's finely chopped, you take some sea salt, you add it, and then you start pasting it. Have you ever done that? No? Do you want us to show you? Yes? It's easy? Yes? Yes, no, yes, no? Yes, okay. She's going to show you how to paste it. It's really simple. So what that does, it literally makes it a paste consistency so you get as much flavor as you can with garlic. And it's really important when you're using garlic, you want the flavor to come out. What often happens, especially with ginger, is that when you do grate your ginger, you must use the finest grater that you have. There's another brand called Microplane. You know those long ones? Those are perfect for grating the ginger because you want the juices to literally come out. Because if the juices don't come out, then they're kind of stuck in the bits, and you don't get as much flavor. Okay, so she's going to show that, and I'm going to carry on with this recipe. And with this, we need some spring onions. This is 2, they're quite long. It's 2 chopped ones. And I also use the end bit of the spring onion, because it gives a nice onion flavor. So we mix that in. And I've got some freshly chopped coriander, and this is about 2 tablespoons. So let's mix that. You could use a fresh chili, but I find with this recipe, because it's going to marinate for a long time, a fresh chili tends to really work on the meat, and it can be quite chilly for somebody who doesn't like hot food. Hey! Sorry, we used to go to school together. So mix that up. The dry flakes, they don't have as much pungent flavor as you would with the fresh one. And if you're going to use the fresh chili, make sure you remove the pith and you remove the seed, because the hotness of the chili is in the pith and the hotness is in the seeds as well. So you want the flavor of the chili, but you don't want the harshness of it. All right? And we have a lot of sesame oil, soy sauce to go with it. So you just mix that. And to offset the sweetness and the saltness, you need a tablespoon of honey. We mix that up. More honey. Okay, I must mix properly. Did you say I used a second thing? Did you see? I'm not a double dipper, just so you know. Okay, so we mix this in, and it goes in the marinade, and I'm gonna reserve a little bit of it because I'm going to make my jus / thin gravy with it. You can close this for me, my dear. Okay. All right. So what you now do is you work it. Make sure that it is literally immersed in this wonderful marinade. Just work it and make sure that when it sits on the length side so that it stays on the marinade, because you want the flavor. And this goes in the fridge. And welcome to my world. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Tick tock, that's what we do. In television, we have what is called time pass. For instance, let's say I've only got 22, sometimes 24 minutes to do the show. And if it takes an hour, I am just buggered if we don't have the time pass. So we'll go like, it's either I'll do a dancing move or whatever, enjoying my time in the kitchen, and then they fast forward it. Have you seen it? Or they'll go tick tock, tick tock, bing. So that's where we are in the show. All right. Come, let's put on the stove. One of the things that we were taught in culinary school is that you must clean. You know, we got penalized for having a dirty surface. So it's so ingrained in me. We must clean as you go. Ne? Okay, let's put those aside. All right, now using a griddle pan, one like this, and I like using a non-stick as well because it's easier to clean and many other reasons. It doesn't stick as much as if I were to use a stainless steel. But if you've got a stainless steel, it works just as well. A griddle pan, you can use a plain pan as well, but I like the nice, beautiful charred lines. That's such a Siba thing. Let's put it on high heat, the highest heat you've got. Okay, so this needs to be like sizzling, sizzling, sizzling hot. And what we're going to do, and you're going to help me with it, is we're going to open this up. Give me the tea towels. Now this is a very important process. Put it down, thank you. There. Okay. Don't have another one. Make more for me, please, darling. Okay, we'll use these ones as well. You must really drain it. You must drain off the liquid because what happens, have you ever cooked stew or a casserole? You saute your onions and your garlic and whatever else, your spices and so on, and then you start adding the meat and then it starts simmering and cooking instead of it sauteing. You know the difference between sauteing and, you know sauteing, ne? Sauteing is frying in little oil, no liquid. But often what happens is that the meat naturally has its own liquid. And if you add it all at once, it then starts simmering. What the simmering does, then it toughens the meat instead of making it brown. Because what you want at this stage, we're gonna roast this for about 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes. What you want is just for the meat to seal, meaning the liquids are sealed in, and to sear at the same time. To sear meaning to brown it. So all the liquid from the juices must be totally gone. Okay, you take that. Let's do this side. Okay, now this is dry enough. Let's see if this is hot enough. Yes, it's hot enough. Okay. All right, to take it in. My hands are clean, you saw I washed them. Good. So you let it cook on the one side. It really depends on how big your fillet is. You let it cook on the one side. It's usually a minute on each side. Minute on the one side, minute on the other side, and then 30 seconds on the smaller sides. If you have, now the beauty about gas stoves is that it gets like high heat instantly. But if you have electric stove, you must really make sure that your pan is totally hot. Because if it's not hot, then the liquids from the meat start sipping out. And if it starts sipping out, then it doesn't do what you want it to do. It doesn't work, and it's not nice, and it's not how it's meant to be. Okay? So this for a minute on each side. Are you counting? Okay, thank you. Let's wash my hands. Okay, you can see, in fact, on the sides, it's starting to brown, which is what we are looking for. Right, and it's totally fine to just press it down because this is such a big chunk of meat. You need to put a bit of weight to make sure, what you want at this stage, you want to sear it, but you don't want to cook the meat because the cooking must happen, you need gentle heat to cook it. The cooking must happen in the oven and not on top, not like rough heat, which is this one. The cooking must happen in the oven. So just press it down. Press. We check slightly more. Mine is a lot stronger. My heat is a lot stronger. It would have done in no time. Okay, cool. So I'll give it a few more minutes because it needs to be nice and browned. The next thing that's going to happen with this, it's going to go in here. How do you like your meat in Joburg? Medium. What's medium? You know there's a French medium and there's a South African medium. So South African French, which one? South African medium. That's well done. That's well done. Anyway, so this is now the funny joke. So I go home quite often now that I've got 2 kids, especially for my parents to get to spend time with the little one. And when I go home, Mom always wants me to cook the food I make on TV, which is fine. So I cooked her some meat this one time, and it was medium, like African medium. And she goes like, Siba isaphila le nyama, meaning this meat is still alive. So I'm like, Mama, that's how it's supposed to be. She's like, I'm not at home, as in, no, my child, not at home. So I'm like, okay, back in the oven it goes. So there's such a huge difference between, I'm always quite aware of what the audience is because people like things differently. Okay, it's starting to look amazing. You know, chefs, we don't burn. Did you know? Do not do this at home, kids, because you will burn. Literally, there's tips of our fingers because we work with heat a lot. I can put my hands here for a very long time and not feel anything. More? I can go on. I can't feel anything even now. It's so funny. So my husband tries to cook for me this one time, and he did one of my recipes, and he did this. Yeah, like he went like, it's like, but Siba, you never burn. I'm like, yeah, yeah. Okay. Other side. Okay, this is starting to look amazing. I'm going to transfer it onto my roasting pan, and I'm going to just slightly, cover with butter so it doesn't stick. Let's wipe my hands. So it's 190 degrees. It goes in the oven. Thank you so much. Are we right with the temperature?
190.
Yeah, 190, perfect. So it goes in the oven for 190 degrees. Now it really depends on how much you like it. This one is quite chunky, so I'll give it 7 minutes. In the meantime, while I do that, let's put this far away. Let's put some water on it so it can stop with the smoking. While we do that, I'm going to make my jus using my leftover dressing. Okay, for that, you can take it off stage, it's gonna start smoking. Woo! Yes. All right, for that, you need some butter. If you start coughing, I understand, especially with the front row. All right, you need about 2 tablespoons of butter. Thanks. You could go more if you're banting. Are you banting in Joburg? Yes? Show of hands. 1, 2. Wow. Only 3. You know, when I made this, because banting has really become such a big thing in SA, so when I do, let's say, corporate events, I always have to keep that in mind. And Collie Mash, in fact, has become a very good friend because people don't take pomace, which is mash. They don't do mash at all. But if you say Collie Mash, it's like, oh yay, we'll do. You also, you'll do mash, Collie Mash. Yes. Okay. So I have this wonderful recipe that is so easy to make. I'll share it with you. First, let me quickly do this jus or very light gravy. We've got 2 tablespoons of some butter, 1 cloves of garlic and about a teaspoon of ginger. You stir it. And literally what you want is to start the ginger and the garlic to start giving off some smell or flavor. Oh, which is I love the mix of garlic and ginger. It really is amazing. All right, to that I'm going to add my leftover marinade, because this is where all the flavor is for this marinade. So in it goes, and this must come to the boil. All right? Do you ever make your own chicken stock? Who makes own chicken stock? Really? Wow, well done. How do you make, like, which one's your favorite? Chicken or beef? Chicken. It's a good one. All right, now this has come to the boil. Good quality chicken stock, about a cup. And then you just let this simmer. You let this simmer until it reduces, because once it's reduced, all the flavors will be much more compact. And I'm going to add a little bit of lemon for a bit of a tang. All right, so we let this simmer for about 10 minutes, gentle heat. So this goes down. Gentle heat with the lid on. Back on telly again.
TikTok.
TikTok. And then this has been simmering for quite some time over low heat. So basically, this is what you want. You can come show them. This is what you want once everything has simmered. Can you see the difference? This is beautiful and simmered. This one, not yet there. Show them this one. Can they see this one? Hey, this side. This side. Can they see it? So I want you to show the difference. So this one. And then this one. Can you see the difference? Okay, there's a huge difference. So simmering compacts the flavor. It really makes it nice and rich and beautiful. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my sides while it can simmer a little bit longer. I'm going to do my sides. Now, I have a challenge at home. I have 3 boys, and my big boy, Brian, he's the influence around the house in terms of what the other 2 boys eat. Well, the small one, he's only 8 months, so he's just been introduced to solids, so he just watches whatever we eat and then he'd have it. But Lonwabo, who's 2, Brian loves sweets, like sweet stuff, and it's like, no sweets in the house. So he has sweets in the car. It's like, no, it's not helping. No sweets at all. Anyway, so whatever Brian eats, Lonwabo eats. He mimics his dad with everything that he does. So when we're sitting at the table, I see Brian would eat your meat, your starch, and everything else, but not much in terms of the vegetables. So I had to come up with a very good plan. And the plan was, wrap them in bacon. Wrap it in bacon. So I need another pan. Thank you so much. So what I did, you can put it on for me, darling. Thanks. So what I did, I thought, you know what, these boys need to eat vegetables. And for now, it's a bit of a mission. So to cut the chase, I'm just going to wrap it in bacon. And I know they're going to enjoy it. And it works like a charm. Like, I don't have leftover vegetables on my table. Okay. So what you do is, let's do it this side. All right, so what you do, you need an asparagus, 1 or 2, depending how thick they are. And then you need about 3 of green beans. Bundle them up. And then with long stem broccoli. This should be about enough bundle. Okay, let's cut that off. And then using a smoked bacon, you literally tuck everything in, and it needs to be very tight. Because if it's not tight enough, what happens is, the minute you start cooking it, so can you see I'm pulling the side, and then I'm rolling as I'm pulling. It needs to be quite tight. Then with a toothpick, cocktail stick, whatever you've got, You then secure it. But it really needs to be tight, because if it's not tight, the minute you cook it, then it starts disintegrating, which you don't want, because then once it's hot, you need to fix it. All right. Now, as this is cooking, I'm going to have a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to swirl that around. A little bit of olive oil.
Siba,
And-
you're going to make magic in 5 minutes.
In fact,
Tick-tock, tick-tock.
TikTok. Okay, I can. Okay, now give me the serving plate we're about to serve. All right. Now, this is the thing. So I want to keep with the Asian theme. And the quickest way to brown these, it's not hot enough. Where's the soy sauce? Cool. The quickest way to brown it is to make sure that you have some oil and a little bit, literally a knob of butter, because butter browns better than vegetable oil. Did you know that? Yes? Yeah. Butter browns better than vegetable oil. So a slight knob of butter, and it will help the browning process. And with that, it's now hot enough, you need some brown sugar. Literally a tip, because brown sugar helps with the caramelization process. And there's no need for you to cook them at all. All right, let's put the rest in. All right, I'll put one more. Little bit of sugar for caramelizing. And you need a little bit of soy sauce. Now, the soy sauce is to offset the sugar, because you don't want it to be sweet. It brings back the saltiness of the bacon without you having messed it up with the sugar. So this cooks, and as it cooks, you just turn it over. All right, come, you look at this, and I'm going to start plating. Okay, now time to plate. Where's that secret stash of ours? I've got this wonderful recipe, which is Collie Mash. All you do is you take one collie head, depending how much you want to make, cut it in quarter, remove all the stems, because if you cook it with the stems give it a gritty taste once it's blitzed, which doesn't make it nice and viscous. So you need to remove the stems. All right, and then once you've removed the stems, take it, put it in a pot, cream and some milk. This is for venting. Some cream and some milk. If you don't do cream and milk, you can do just some water, and then you can add butter afterwards. You cook it until it's completely tender and all the water has evaporated. If the water is not evaporated enough and the collie mash is done, then you drain it. And then what you do is you take it and you put it in either a stick blender or a blitz. You blitz it until it's this smooth consistency. Can they see it? You blitz it until it's this smooth consistency. Put it back in the pot. And then have it warmed up if you are warming it up. Yes, beautiful. If you are warming it up, it's really important. What happens is once it's in the pot and it's done, it burns quite quickly. So what happens is it starts creating a skin on top, a brown skin on top, and the minute you stir it, so if you've created the skin, just don't go deep when you stir it. Otherwise, it will have brown colors, which is really not lovely. Okay. Let's finish off this. Okay, this time around, it is quite hot. You can take that one off, it's beautiful. Thank you so much. Yes. So you strain it, making sure you press it as much as you can. Let's have those. Bring them to me. As much as you can. Okay. You can use your hands, you know. Cool. And at this point, it would be very easy for you to remove this, and it will not disintegrate. It will keep its shape. Can you see? right, and next with that is the meat. Let's see it. Thank you. All right, you can close it for me, please. Thanks. Ideally, peeps, meat should rest. Do you know what happens if it doesn't rest? If it doesn't rest, then it starts, if you cut it now, what happens is this must be covered in foil for at least 5 minutes. Because if you cut it now, all the water or all the juices, not water, sorry, all the juices will start sipping out. And once it does that, then once you eat it, it will be so dry. So the entire process of you making it tender, marinating this and that will be lost. So I'm going to take it just as is. And place it here. Ooh. That's definitely not for one person, hey? I'm just saying. It's massive. All right, I need a clean spoon, please, for the gravy. For the jus. Do we have? Yes, thank you so much. This plate is really biased. It's out of proportion. But hey, then you just drizzle your jus all around. Where's the micro herbs? Did you know that garnishing with coriander and parsley is last season? Just so you know. If anyone asks, just say Siba said so. And you'll be fine. So the greatest garnishes now are micro herbs. That's the new thing. I love it when we trend in terms of food. I love food trends. Let's remove that one, it's too big. And these ones are called crimson. Okay, we need slightly dainty ones. Right around. Okay, that then ends my wonderful time with you, Joburg. You have been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for the love, and thank you so much for coming and spending time with me on a Sunday morning.
At
Afternoon.
Siba's table.
At my table.
Absolute trendsetter, right? Let's give a round of applause for Siba. Siba,
Thank you
you'll
so
be
much.
taking photographs with him at the big bookstore.
Yes.
All right, awesome. Let's
Yes.
give Siba a few moments just to freshen up, and then she'll meet you outside at the bookstore.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. Mwah! Lovely Joburg.
Ladies and gents, of course, the show is made possible because of our sponsors, Silestone Chefworks, Kenwoods, our awesome chefs in training from International
Well
Hotel
done.
School, Aquavita, Goodfellas. Please be free to make your way around the corner, and at the bookstore, Siba will meet you there. Thanks so much for coming out. Please exit to your left.